Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited for today's session with Eyenie Schultz, amazing stylist, couture stylist, fashion guru for everyone, basically. Eyenie and I met through my really good soul sister and health coach, Eleanor Geeth. And she's like, I was working with this woman and you would really click with her. And this was, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't even remember. And then I did Jenny was doing consults at the time, and Eleanor kept saying, you got to talk to her, you got to talk. And then we talked, and I just loved her energy so much. And now, we masterminded, we've been helping each other out, seeing each other grow. And now she's also a singularity storyteller. She's in the circle. She's doing some really cool things. So Eyenie, thank you so much for being in the summit today.
Oh, my pleasure. It's always, I always feel giddy about hanging out with you, lovely, and dorking out about all these delicious topics. So I'm excited.
And I love the topic that you have chosen for today, how to use your iconic style to manifest your desires. So before we get into that goody, juicy stuff, I want to hear more about your story and how you've become the Technicolor Priestess, because that's who Eyenie is. What spurred that and how you're currently evolving, and then also how you're here serving and transforming people's lives with iconic style.
Okay. So how did I get started? Well, I mean, basically what I do now, on some level, I've always done it. From the time I was very small, I've just always been obsessed with, I just have always seen beauty in people. Like I've seen the things that other people haven't seen in so many people, including themselves, right? So just from a young age, I helped to illuminate it, to sort of highlight these things that I thought made people beautiful, and to help them feel that way and see it and connect with it. So, early on in my life, I was I had worthiness issues. I didn't fit the mold of what beauty was at all. Like I'm 6'1". I am not, I don't have like tiny features. I'm a big lady. I'm boisterous. I'm, especially, when you're younger, like I had lots of stuff not happening in my favor, or so I thought. So I basically I thought that I was just inherently wrong and put all my love and attention and worthy, like everything, on other people. So, and I made myself invisible, and I quieted myself, and I really muted what I had to say, and I didn't allow myself to sort of have any voice or pleasure, and I just for years was punishing myself. Then finally, a lot of stuff happened in the interim, but eventually when I got pregnant, I realized, when I got pregnant, I wasn't happy doing corporate stuff. I just knew that, like I always had Bjork's song. I've said this before, there's more to life than this, running through my head over and over again. And I knew that I eventually got the memo that I had to do something about it. So when I got pregnant, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do my thing. I want to be an amazing example of what it is, to be a woman on your own terms, to my tiny dancer who happens to be a little girl. So that's sort of where I started my coaching practice. And, as my business evolved, I was sort of trying to find myself and my voice. Initially, I was playing it safe. I was trying to, look like, what's going to actually work? What will people buy? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to dress? How should a coach look? Whatever. And it didn't resonate with anybody. It sure didn't resonate with me. I was like, I thought this was supposed to be my passion. And I'm like, it's snooze fest over here. I'm hearing crickets, right? So I realized, and I kept hearing, you have to go within, you have to go within. Once I started doing that, like I finally started understanding it was about connecting with myself. It was about engaging in because I'd read so many books, I'd done so many things, and it wasn't until I actually started participating in my life and myself going through the motions and doing all these things instead of just, staying in philosophy and, being theoretical about them. When I actually started doing the work and getting in the trenches and just getting on in there, actually journaling, actually meditating, actually taking care of myself, like and getting to know myself, that's sort of when the magic happened. That's sort of when I started, to express myself even in my business. And I've realized, so at first I was serving, so this is kind of, I'm at an interesting sort of pivotal moment in my business and in my evolution, because the women I serve, I always call them overachieving misfits, smart and creative and kick-ass and all these things, but always, but sort of the misfit, the outlier, the sort of, I don't fit in, I feel uncomfortable. That's where I sort of felt like I belonged. now I realize that so many of the women that I serve, who I've had the pleasure of working with, and myself, we're now graduating from overachieving misfits into visionaries. So this is a really important moment to help, because it can be sort of tricky, it can be overwhelming, it can be scary shit to like be stepping into this whole new land where you're actually like, that's why I love the femme boss, where you're actually making decisions, where you don't have to be liked by everyone, where you're polarizing, where you're, you know what I mean? So yeah, right now I'm basically helping women to do that, to be their version of what I call the Technicolor Priestess. Technicolor Priestess for me is alive and here and present, but also very focused and very profound, and that's why that sort of resonates for me. So my work now is to help women step into who they are, from the out, expressing it outwardly and everything they surround themselves with through their style, so that they can really become that iconic, no limits, no BS, I don't give a fuck version of themselves. That was a very long-winded answer.
No, that's the story, and that's the story that has brought you to this, because I remember Technicolor Priestess, and I remember there was a beautiful post you made about wearing this dress, and it was supposedly too short, and it totally wasn't, by the way. But and you recognized it too, and you posted this story about how I always thought that I'm not allowed to wear this, or I never liked this part of myself. And then you shared that post, and I remember the engagement that post got, and how you inviting us into your world allowed all these other people to say, oh, well, then I could wear what I want too.
Yeah. And it's amazing how something so simple, it can run so deep. And I mean, it's even about like, it's okay for me to be creative. Instead of like being a misfit, I'm actually creative. And instead of saying that there's something wrong with me, like having kooky taste, why not embrace it and accept that like the next level of that is iconic? You know what I mean? So it's like making it okay also to also, embracing all these like seeming imperfections, but also sort of just allowing yourself to shine instead of dimming yourself down for all these, that's where the sort of overachiever part comes in. We've been taught, you don't want to outshine people, or you don't want to be too much. But I say, screw that. Like, let's all be who we are, let's step into who we are. And I love that. That's sort of where I am and where my clients are right now.
Yes,
so yeah,
totally. Totally feel that shift. And if you haven't, I'm in Eyenie's Facebook group. Could you tell us a little bit about the group? Because I can't like keep preaching, but I want you to share it.
Thank you, and you are a beloved member. So it's called the Neon Parlor, and I call it the Neon Parlor because I used to say a lot. I used to live in grayscale. Like I would dim myself down, trying to hide myself, not really connecting with myself. Everything was sort of murky and grayscale. And so the Neon Parlor is about putting yourself in neon, like flipping that shit, being who you are, like activating it, radiating it, like, just really stepping into who you are from the inside out, having your own back, self-expression, mega self-expression, authentic, it's a space for all of that. So it's really fun for, dorking out with other really creative, amazing badasses who have amazing taste and, showing each other's outfits. It's good for encouragement, like, when we're feeling the effects of the moon or, whatever. So it gets woo-woo, it gets rock and roll, but it's really a place for you to step into really a full, amazing neon self-expression.
Yeah, totally. And I love how you combine the neon, the full color with technology, with radical self-expression through your style. And one of the things that your gift is discovering your style voice. And what does that look like when you're working with somebody? Because a lot of us, like, we're at this certain level, and then we're like, oh, but I feel like this feels good and this feels good. I don't know if I should do that. How do you guide somebody into releasing their past selves gently into stepping into this iconic, visionary, and brand? Really, because then they're aligning themselves into who they always were, but now they're like, oh, okay, I get it. I gotta be this now.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like they were pretending, like, pretending to not be that person all along. Yes. So, I mean, it comes in phases. So the first phase is really to discover what is your style voice. So I take women through a very specific process that I sort of, I guess I channeled it. So a very specific process to really get to know, you know, what is their style voice, what are their energies, how do those energy, and, you know, once we get their very unique style voice, I've never had two women have even remotely the same one. We define, you know, what does that actually look like visually? How does this look? So we go through the woman's closet to put together totally new looks now from this space anchored in the style voice that she would have never ever put together. So that's actually the good starting point, because it's a safe space of things that they know, but now we're using them in this totally new way that's kind of mind-blowing, because they literally create like 10 new outfits during our first call that they've never even considered putting together. And I hear so many women say, oh my God, I feel like this feels like me. I would have never thought of this, you know? So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty amazing. And then from there, after that, then we sort of start exploring, okay, so if we take it to the next level, if money's no object, if there are no fears, if it's just you and your essence, like what is the next level, like sort of like the next register of this, right? So there's, you know, how do we step into your style voice more for this, if you're going to be doing speaking gigs, or if you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be performing, if you're going to be, you know, representing your art at your exhibition, right? So it's really connecting with the person and the feeling that you want when you're sort of front and center and expressing this full throttle, right? So, I mean, the first stage is this closet, and then we sort of get more and more specific, get more and more precise, and also further out of the person's comfort zone. And then we also bring in sort of like, you know, what is dream you? What is iconic you? What's her scent? What is she surrounding herself with? You know, what does her signature like suitcase look like when she's trotting, you know, globe trotting? So it's really all encompassing. It really encompasses all of the senses, because it is an extension of who you are and how you're moving through the world.
Yes. Oof. And then are you still doing, because every time I tell people that it's kind of what you do, photo shoots at the end?
Yeah, so right now I have, we can do, so with some women, whoever, you know, the women that choose to do a photo shoot, we totally take them through the style voice process. You know, they're sort of inhabiting this, and we get very clear, like pie in the sky, what's your vision? What would you do if there were no barriers, no like limits at all? And so I kind of guide them, and then from there we come up with a concept for their delicious photo shoot, where they're ready to really sort of go out on a limb and express this whole part of themselves that a lot of times, like even their family hasn't seen. It can be really scary because it's totally new territory. And then we, you know, usually do it over here in France. So, you know, I do it in this town that I'm in because it's a small medieval town, village, or we go to Paris. And they're also very specific to the woman's style voice. So they're not all there. The photos, you know, every photo shoot I've done with every woman has been totally unique. Just her truth and her, you know, an expression of her, and it's just really magical to watch and just see how these women, you know, when they're in their element, when they're finally like dressing how they have like themselves, like this bigger version of themselves, when they're showing up in this way, how confident they are and how they speak differently and how they, you know, carry themselves differently and how they just really own it, like they become the sort of the star, right, the icon. So it's just really freaking amazing to watch.
You get to witness their evolution from having the hint of being the iconic self-expressed style to fully self-expressed in their style and confident and achieving and like not giving a fuck.
Not giving a fuck. And I mean, in between those, we're also shopping. So it's like, that's a big part of it too. There's releasing of energy. There's like releasing of fears. There's, you know, so just really getting really close and raw with your body, because I'm there, like I'm all up in people's business, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a part of it is also like receiving that and also just being okay with your body and, you know, kind of being doted on, I guess, and like fussed over. So that's a big part of it too, like sort of receiving that, like, yes, when you're an icon, people do fuss over you, and that's okay. And it's okay to receive, and it's okay to just show exactly who I am. And yeah, so it's just all around magic.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if for somebody that is, you know, discovering their style voice, or maybe they're not there yet, they haven't discovered that they even are iconic, any words of wisdom or advice from how you were first to now the visionary stylist and, you know, Technicolor Priestess.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, and this is so simple, this is why I'm like, why didn't I do this? But really, what I would invite everyone to do is to, and this might seem like it has no correlation to your business, but I guarantee this will make all of the difference. It's from the beginning, really do go within, really do like remember, what is it that you loved when you were little? What makes you get butterflies in your stomach? What do people like remember about you because it's so like quirky or so kooky or cute or fun or whatever they want to call it, right? So really start paying attention to these things, reconnect with yourself, like make just a big ass list of things that you love, of things that make you feel giddy, of, you know, and just start seeing, and you can even do this visually, bring it into visually like on a Pinterest board or something, just so you can start seeing sort of the overview, the common thread of who you are, that feeling that makes you, because that's ultimately clothing and dressing, you know, as your iconic self. It's just about feeling how you want to feel. So finding things, tapping into these things that make you feel how you want to feel over and over again, it starts exercising that muscle so beautifully. And then when you see something that, you know, that connects with that, you're like, ooh, okay, this is totally out of my comfort zone, but I know I've got to have it. Like, I know this is totally me. And then that's when you sort of, you know, start entering that territory of being the icon. So really, really connecting, really asking yourself what you love, really, you know, tapping into that feeling of how you want to feel, of how it feels to feel amazing, of how it feels to feel confident, and however else you want to feel.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing today your story of how you've become who you are, and now how you're transforming the lives of other icons and visionaries through the work you're doing. And if people want to connect with you, or they want to be part of your community, or they're interested in doing a photo shoot, they're interested in discovering their style voice, where can people find you?
Yes, so you can go to my website, which is actually going to go through a major overhaul, but it's technicolorpriestess.com. That's a good space to just kind of get to know me and sign up for a discovery session, or, you know, so we can chat, whatever. I'm the Neon Parlor. I put, you know, that's my Facebook group, a lot of videos, a lot of, you know, questions and prompts and tips. So that's a great place to connect with me, you know, Facebook, or Eyenie Schultz, EYENIESCHULTZ on Facebook as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we're going to continue doing the Storytelling Summit. And Eyenie, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, and we will see each other on social media.
You bet we will, darling. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.